Hello, football friends. Over 3 billion people watched the last World Cup final. It is the biggest event on earth. But behind the goals, glory, individual performance, team performances, and trophy lifts, there is a history full of war, kidnapping, royal drama, and even murder associated with the World Cup. Along with the match statistics, there are certain facts which are so surprising that it is hard to believe them. And I am going to prove it, one fact at a time. A king who held an entire company hostage, a trophy that Nazis hunted for years and never found, and a man who used football to save his life. I am ranking these facts from surprising all the way up to the unbelievable. Fact number 10 will change how you watch this tournament forever. But first, a question. Do you already know a World Cup fact that sounds fake but is actually true? Drop it in the comments right now and let's see if I mention it. So let's get started. We begin with fact number 1. The mystery of Uruguay's 4-star. Quick question. Uruguay has won the World Cup only twice. So why does their badge shows 4 stars? The same as teams who have won it far more often? Because 2 of these stars have nothing to do with World Cup. Back in 1924 and 28, before the World Cup even existed, Uruguay had already won Olympic football gold twice. At that time, FIFA called Olympics the real World Championship of football. Then, when Uruguay won the actual World Cup in 1930 and again in 1950, FIFA let all 4 wins share the crest. Every star tells its own story. We move to fact number 2. The curse no foreign coach has ever broken. Here is a stats that sounds impossible. In more than 90 years and 22 men's World Cups, not one winning team has ever been coached by someone from another country. Surprising, isn't it? Every single champion has been led by a coach from their own nation. Great foreign coaches have come close. Some have even reached the finals, but none have won it. Is that just luck? Or there is something about knowing your country's football that cannot be taught from outside? Nobody really knows. The pattern just keeps holding. What do you think? Is it a coincidence or curse? Type your views in comments. I'll pin my favorite answer. Now, the next fact is much more recent and honestly a lot funnier. Fact number 3. The ball that needs to be plugged in. Let's jump to 2022. If you told a player from 1930s footballs that one day the ball need to be charged like a phone, they wouldn't have believed you. But that is exactly what happened. The official 2022 match ball had small sensor inside it. The sensor sent data to referees 500 times every second to catch offside calls instantly. The catch? It ran on a battery. So, before every match, the staff had to plug in whole crate of footballs, just like charging your phone. Even the ball got an upgrade. At fact number 4 is a dog who solved a national scandal. Then we lost it again forever. In 1966, London is hosting World Cup final for the first time. And the whole country is excited. Then the disaster hits. The actual World Cup trophy is stolen from a public display. The police have no leads. It's a huge embarrassment for the country. Enter Pickles. Not a police dog, not a detective. Just an ordinary dog on a walk with his owner. Pickles sniffed out a mysterious package in an old newspaper hidden under a hedge. Inside was the missing trophy. Pickles became a national hero overnight. He gets free dog food for life and a seat at England's victory dinner. England went on to win the tournament. Case closed, or so everyone thought. But in 1983, history repeats itself. While on display in Brazil, the trophy was stolen again. Only this time it was never found. Despite years of searching, one of football's most famous objects is still missing right now, as you are watching this video. If a missing golden trophy just gave you chills, that's exactly the reaction that deserves a like. Tap it now. It really helps this video reach far more people. And I've still got 6 facts to go, including the one that helped start a war. Fact number 5. The trophy the Nazis almost got their hands on. That 1966 theft wasn't even the closest the trophy came to disappearing. During World War II, with the tournament on hold, the Nazis were sweeping across Europe, seizing anything valuable. And that includes the coveted golden FIFA World Cup trophy. They wanted this trophy desperately. But they could never find it in the war years. It was kept in hiding for all these years, very smartly, by an Italian FIFA official named Ottorino Barassi. He knew that the bank wallet wasn't safe enough because Nazis were searching for every bank wallet. So he did something surprisingly simple. He smuggled the trophy out of bank himself and hid the most valuable object in world sports inside an old shoebox under his own bed. Just imagine the world's most coveted trophy in an old shoebox under a mattress. For years it was kept there. Nazi soldiers searched the cities. Not one of them thought to look under his mattress. Fact number 6. The king who held a company hostage for his team. Let's go back even further to the very first World Cup in 1930 hosted by Uruguay. Getting there took 3 weeks by boat, so most of the European countries stayed home. Romania went anyway because the king Carol II loved football. He didn't just support the team, he personally picked the players. When a major oil company refused to give its worker 3 months off to travel to the tournament, the king did not ask twice. He threatened to shut the entire company down unless his players were let go. The company gave in within days. That's just not being a fan. That's a king using his power to build a football team. If you are new here, this is what our channel does. It gives you exciting news about sports, Bollywood, geography, history, and the list goes on. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications because Fact 7 has a prince literally storming onto a pitch, and it only gets crazier from here. Fact number 7. The prince who walked onto the pitch and reversed a goal. If you think referees face too much pressure today, wait until you hear this one. It was 1982. The World Cup qualifier match between France and Kuwait. France scored a disputed goal. The Kuwaiti players stopped playing, saying they heard a whistle from the crowd. The referee ignored them and gave the goal to France anyway. That should have been that. But Prince Fahad, head of Kuwaiti Football Association, was watching from stands. He walked out of his seat, marched onto the pitch with his entourage and demanded the referee change the decision. And somehow it worked. The goal was cancelled live on TV just because a member of royalty refused to accept it. Fact number 8. The stadium so overcrowded it became a death trap waiting to happen. Ask any football fan about 1950 World Cup final. They'll probably say Brazil versus Uruguay. But here is the twist. Officially, there was no World Cup final in 1950. Instead, FIFA used a final round-robin group consisting of 4 teams. Brazil only needed a draw against Uruguay to become the champions, and they were hosting the World Championship. The final match against Uruguay was held at a brand new Maracana Stadium. The official attendance was recorded at over 173,000 people, already a massive number. But that official number wasn't the full story. Broken gates and total chaos meant historians now believe that well over 200,000 fans were actually packed inside. It's still the largest crowd ever recorded at a football match, a record that can never be broken again thanks to the modern safety rules. Brazil only needed a tie to win it all, but they lost 2-1. the whole crowd became silent. That silence from 200,000 people is still remembered in Brazil today, and it is called Maracanazo, the disaster of Maracana. 200,000 people, no assigned seats, no crowd control. Be honest, would you have risked being in that stadium? Tell me below. Because what's coming next is not just a crowd getting out of control, it's a football match that actually helped start a war. Fact number 9. The World Cup qualifier that helped trigger an actual war. Can a football match really start a war? Not on its own. But in 1969, it came close enough that history now calls it exactly that. Honduras and El Salvador played each other in World Cup qualifier matches at a time when two countries were already close to breaking point over immigration and land disputes. Fights broke out around the stadium before, during, and after the games. Just weeks later, El Salvador launched a military attack on Honduras. It became known as the Football War. The fighting lasted for about 100 hours and costed thousands of lives. Football didn't cause the war. The tensions were already there, but a World Cup qualifier became the spark that set it off. Before we get into the last one, if you have made it so far, do me a favor. Share this video with a friend who thinks he knows everything about football. Now, let's go to the last fact. The fact I promised you at the very start. Fact number 10. When losing meant dying. In 1974, Zaire, now called the Democratic Republic of Congo, played in their first ever World Cup. During a match against football giants Brazil, something strange happened. Brazil was setting up a free kick. Suddenly, Zaire defender Mvepu Ilunga dashed out of the wall and blasted the ball away, before the referee even blew the whistle. The commentators laughed, calling it hilarious lack of understanding of the rules. But the truth was heartbreaking. Zaire's brutal dictator, Mobutu Sese Seko, had sent his guard to the team hotel before the match. The message was clear. If you lose to Brazil by 4 goals or more, none of you are coming home alive. They were already 3-0. Ilunga wasn't confused. He was desperate to waste time to disrupt the game to save his life. They held the score 3-0 and they all survived. But not every story ends that way. 20 years later, at 1994 World Cup, Colombia defender Andrés Escobar accidentally scored an own goal against the United States, knocking his country out of the tournament. That wasn't liked by his countrymen. Just days after returning home, Escobar was shot and killed outside a nightclub. The exact reason is still debated, but it has long been linked to the gambling losses and tension around Colombia's World Cup campaign. 2 players, 2 moments where football match become a matter of life and death. One made it home because he refused to let the game end, while the other never got a chance. That's the side of World Cup history nobody puts in the highlight reel. So, from a dog sniffing out a stolen trophy, a king holding the company hostage, and a defender who wasted time to save his own life, the World Cup has never been just 90 minutes on the pitch. It is surrounded by war, politics, obsession, and sometimes survival, all dressed up as a game. Quick question. Out of all the 10, which one actually shocked you the most? Was it shoebox under the bed, or the prince storming onto the pitch, or the match that started a war? Or fact number 10, where football became a game of survival? Type the number in the comments below. I want to see which one wins. And here is a challenge. I bet someone reading this already knows a World Cup fact even stranger than these. And if that's you, this is your moment. Comment it below and I might feature it in part 2. Before you go, like this video if you want part 2. Subscribe if you want more stories like it, and share with a friend who is going to argue about which fact was the craziest. Every one of these actions tell me make more of these, so don't be shy. If you want more stories like this, the video is right here where I would go next. Trust me, it is just as wild as this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.